26 knots down the Eagle. 106 to interval is a Rhino at 5. Sure, sir. 07 on glide path on course 1 mile. Sure, sir. 07 on glide path on.
On the 12th of April 2004, 4 Italian security guards employed in Baghdad, Iraq by an American security company were kidnapped by a group of armed men and taken to an isolated compound somewhere in the country. Within days of their disappearance, one of the Italians, Fabrizio Quattrocchi, would sadly be killed by his captors, who demanded that the Italian government withdraw all their troops from Iraq, or a similar fate would befall the remaining 3 hostages. Responding to these demands, Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi remarked that the government will do all it can to achieve as soon as possible the release of the Italian citizens held in Iraq. The peace mission of the Italian soldiers in Iraq, in line with the international commitments that have been taken on, is absolutely not in question. Meanwhile, international intelligence services were working around the clock to try and find the hostages, and eventually, in early June of 2004, a compound to the south of Baghdad was identified as being the safe house for the kidnappers. Later aerial and ground reconnaissance of the building would also confirm that the 3 Italians, as well as a Polish man who had been missing since the 1st of June, were being held inside the complex. Following this breakthrough, and with the hostages located, a rescue operation was immediately drawn up. This operation was to be American-led and was to involve elements of A Squadron of Delta Force, who were to storm and clear the compound itself, whilst 4 MH-60 Black Hawk and 4 MH-6 Little Bird helicopters from the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment were tasked with airlifting Delta Force onto the objective and providing air cover throughout the operation. It has also been claimed by senior Polish officials that a detachment of Polish Special Forces were also assigned to the mission. However, no further details have been provided to the public concerning the exact role of the Polish troops and from what unit they came from. Nevertheless, by morning of the 8th of June 2004, preparations for the rescue had been completed, and the operation, known as Objective Medford, was given the green light to begin. From their base in Baghdad, the American task group took off, flew out low across the city, and headed south towards the target, with the 8 helicopters arriving over the compound at exactly 10:57. Leading the group into the objective were the 4 Black Hawks, which approached the compound from the east and made their descent onto the landing zones, with 3 touching down within the complex walls, whilst the 4th landed outside the perimeter. As soon as the Black Hawks made landfall, the men of Delta Force disembarked, and using speed and the element of surprise, they rushed forward and very quickly gained entry into the compound. Once inside, the American troops methodically cleared through the building, and just 17 seconds after disembarkation, they had located and identified the 4 hostages, who were found with their hands tied inside one of the rooms. 2 other individuals, who were later confirmed to have been involved in the kidnappings, were also found on the objective, although they put up no resistance and surrendered the moment Delta Force entered the compound. With the 4 hostages recovered, the troops of A Squadron exfiltrated out from the target on board the Black Hawks and were back in Baghdad by midday on the 8th of June 2004. On their return, the hostages were handed over to their respective national embassies and treated for any injuries they had sustained whilst in captivity, with a Polish citizen having to be tended to for dog bites on both of his legs. That same day, Lieutenant General Ricardo Sanchez, commander of coalition forces in Iraq, broke the news of the successful rescue. Today, coalition forces conducted military operations to rescue kidnapped civilian hostages south of Baghdad. There were some individuals believed to be involved in the kidnapping that were detained. At this point in time, there is no reported exchange of fire.